Even turn off the light so everyone can see it better. Oh, what's this? T-shirt. Oh, well, we're live. What do you know? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, episode 160, the one where Adam gets to model all of his awesome T-shirts. So we're happy to have you here. And before we get started, of course, we want to go around and say hello to everybody. So I'll start on my left as I see things here on the screen. Chris, how's it going, man?
It's good. It's snowing in Austria. Time to hit the slopes soon. Can't wait. How are you doing?
Good. Can't complain. It should be snowing here, but it's like 50. So Fahrenheit for those of you outside the US. But yeah, it's nice. Can't complain. So Hernan, how about you? How are things going? You're moving into summer down south.
Yeah, it's fucking chilly, man. Like, I don't know. It's November the 29th. I was expecting some warm, but no, it's chilly. Nice t-shirt, by the way. Good logo.
Oh, thank you. It comes in black as well, but I chose this one. First one I grabbed out since I was running late. I'm the reason we're late, but right. All right. Well, Marco, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. What's up?
Not much. Usually check in with you for the weather, but I know you're down south closer to Hernan, so I guess the weather's about the same for you.
It's the same.
Sounds good. All right. Roman, how about you, man? How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Up in Canada.
Gotcha. Wow. Weather report. What's going on there, man? Is it snowing? Is the Great White North a blizzard? What's happening?
We've actually just recently had a nice warm day of like 50 degrees. Nice. It's been a pleasant freezing for the entire rest of the time I've been here, though.
Wow.
Sweet.
All right, Bradley, I was just in your neck of the woods for Thanksgiving, a couple hours away from you, so I'm pretty sure I know how it is, but how are things going with you down there? Any weather or anything, I guess? So.
Everything's peachy. So
all right.
Glad to be here.
Outstanding. All right. Well, we just got a few quick announcements. If you're new to Semantic Mastery, first of all, thank you for watching Hump Day Hangouts and hanging out with us and being here. You should check out the battle plan, the SEO blueprint. I'll pop a link in there. You can save $75 with the discount code we got. If you have not yet, please head over to serpspace.com. You can get your free account there. There's a couple free tools, which actually we should ask Roman about that if there's he's got some additional stuff coming out, but that's also where all the awesome done for you services are located. Okay. And then as well, the last thing we want to let you know is always check out support.semanticmastery.com. We have our frequently asked questions there, things that require graphs or charts or some of Bradley's amazing artwork, and we compiled them there in one spot. So during the week, if you have a question, you can go there and check that out. All right. So that is it on my end. Do you guys have anything you want to cover before we get started? Oh, I can think of one thing real quick. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is Jefferey Smith's SEO Bootcamp still, is there a quick reopening on that? Did we confirm that? Or
yes,
now that we're live?
And, I'm glad you mentioned that because I've got the link right here. Yeah, guys, the SEO Bootcamp training that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, Jefferey Smith's SEO Bootcamp training, it was on a special price for, I guess, $497, roughly, $500 for a limited time, and then he closed that, so it ended up going to $997. But because of how much we've talked, like how well we've talked about it, how good we've talked about it, he basically opened it back up for our subscribers to join again for $497 for a limited time only. So if you guys are interested in it, now would be the time, because once it goes back up to the regular price again when he closes it, which is like in 1 to 3 days, I guess. I don't know. I know he said it was only going to be a couple days. It'll be $997. So I recommend that you get it. We also got some bonuses that we'll throw in. We'll throw in Content Kingpin if you need it. If you don't have it already, just contact us at support@Semantic Mastery. If you end up picking up the SEO Bootcamp training, which I highly, highly recommend. Guys, I wouldn't be recommending SEO training from someone else unless it was that good, and his is really that good. So anyways, I'm going to drop the link and you guys can go check it out, and I highly recommend that you get it while it's still at half price. Okay, and you'll get our bonuses too. So
awesome. Yeah, and if you're watching this down the road, it's probably not available, so hopefully we can work something out with him again, but that's the way it works. It was open for about a week there, and then this will be over. This is 11/29, November 29th. This will be over November 30th.
Okay. And that's semanticmastery.com/SEO Bootcamp. If somebody's watching this at a later date, even at $1,000, it's totally worth it. I'm not lying. So if you can't get it now, then get it later when you can afford it. So because it's worth it. All right. Anything else?
I think we're good.
All right, last thing before we move on, go to bradleybenner.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel or my email list. Period. That's it. No, I've been doing the Mindset Mastery series over there. Once a week, I try to do, well, not every week, but most weeks I try to get a video done, and it's often a series of videos because I have to split it up into multiple videos. This week I just did some Q&A stuff, but you can ask me questions about Mindset series. There's a button on the bradleybenner.com page where you can just click. It takes you over to Google form. You can submit questions. I also highly recommend that you subscribe to my email list. It's daily mindset updates. And it's just every day I've started working on developing a habit of trying to write every day a minimum of 200 words. And I'm using the Mindset Mastery email series as my, I guess my vehicle, right? That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm doing all of my writing. And I've written Monday through Friday almost every single day. I think we're up to like 15 or 16 emails in the series already. But it's basically at the end of my morning ritual or routine where I do my daily goal setting and planning. And like some brief meditation and some study and stuff like that. Typically, I have something in my mind that I want to convey. So some idea, and that's what I just put to paper or in an email. I draft an email from that, and my goal is just a minimum of 200 words per day. Typically, they end up between like 500 to 800 words in order to fully convey my thought. But it's something that's kind of turning into a labor of love for me. And it's just kind of like kick your ass stuff, like get off your ass and go do something, be productive, don't make excuses, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I respond to well. I'm not going to lie. This is more of a selfish thing for me that I'm doing for me, but I figured I might as well put it out there because it may help some of you. So I recommend going and checking it out. Yeah, I dropped some links to various resources, to like Amazon books and audio programs and all the kind of stuff that I'm studying, tools and things that I use. So it's not like an affiliate promo thing. I'm literally just sharing with you guys what kind of resources that I'm using in my daily practice of self-mastery and personal growth and that kind of stuff. So go check it out. All right. With that,
I'm going to head over there and get signed up.
I'm going to move on. All right. Here we go, guys. All right. So Pierre is up first. He says, hey, guys, I am new to SEO. I've just created a YouTube channel for a DJ service. I'm launching in Montreal. How can I optimize my YouTube channel? Well, there's a few things you can do to your channel. It's more about optimizing the individual videos. Don't get me wrong. It's good to optimize the channel as well, but there's limited things that you can do to the channel. So for example, one thing that's important is, at least in my opinion, through my testing, is to theme the channel. So what I mean by that, since you're new, Pierre, is you want to try to keep all the videos that you have uploaded that are public on your channel, right? If they're unlisted or private, it really doesn't matter. But anything that's public on your channel, you want to make sure that it's closely related to what the overall theme of your business is, right? So music related stuff, probably. Maybe videos from weddings that you've DJ'd at or events that you've DJ'd at, that kind of stuff, so that it all makes sense, right? You want to try to keep the theming somewhat relevant. It's okay to have occasionally some random videos, but what I would suggest is that you create playlists for that. And that's one of the ways that you can kind of like silo or categorize, compartmentalize your YouTube channels by using playlists. And so as far as the actual optimization, just go to the settings and then we'll go to the Creator Studio. I'm not going to walk through it because we got too many questions to get through. But we have a course called YouTube Mastery. It's a little bit dated, but the principles are all still the same. So if that's something that walks through how to optimize YouTube channels as well as individual videos, both on-page and off-page optimization and playlist optimization, all of those things, link building, advanced ranking techniques, all of that is in YouTube Mastery. Again, it's probably 3 years old now. So some of the interfaces have changed, like the interface in YouTube's changed a bit, but all of those principles are absolutely still relevant today. So I would recommend you pick that up. I believe YouTube Silo Academy is part of that or as a bonus or something in there. If it's not, YouTube Silo Academy is only a $7 product. That's something else I would recommend, because using playlists in YouTube and creating them as like website silos, very, very powerful. It's like standard operating procedure now for any sort of YouTube work that I do. So I'd recommend that you pick that up. Or if you pick up YouTube Mastery, again, it's an inexpensive product. I don't know. Are we even still selling that, guys? I don't even know if we are, to be honest.
Probably we are.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as we're still selling it, go pick it up. And, and then what I would suggest is not even buying YouTube Silo Academy, because just contact us at support if you end up buying YouTube Mastery. tell us you purchased, and we'll give you access to our bonus site, which YouTube Silo Academy is included in the bonus site. Okay, as well as a shit ton of other training. So it's worth it just to get the bonus site. But that's what I would recommend, Pierre, because that will take you step by step through how to optimize a YouTube channel and the videos and the playlists and do the link building and all the other stuff that is required to rank videos. Okay. Okay, so moving on. John says, anybody want to comment on that before I move on?
You covered that completely.
All right. John says, hey guys, I'm trying to understand more about drive stacks. This will be a good question for Marco. When creating the articles as part of the drive stacks, should the content be unique? Doesn't have to be, John, at all. Also, if we have a website that we want to rank, are we better off pointing the stack at the money site, or should we instead build a secondary stack just to rank that by itself? I'll give you my answer, and then I want to hear Marco's as well. But yeah, I mean, for drive stacks, I link to all of my most important properties within the stack. So in other words, like I link to the money site, I link to the Google My Business Maps URL, link to the Facebook page, any of the real powerful tier 1 social properties, or even citations like Yelp, for example. I throw a Yelp link in as a target URL for my drive stack. The primary URL should be your money site, in my opinion. Unless you're just trying to rank in maps, but again, you should be putting both of those links in as target URLs, anyways. But I pretty much always link to my money site, homepage of the money site, as well as any the Google My Business listing and any of the other most powerful tier 1 links or citations, which includes social properties and things like that I'm trying to boost, to push, to basically validate the entity, push relevancy into the whole ecosystem, and that kind of stuff. So Marco, what's your take?
I totally agree. I mean, that's it. Link to everything, anything and everything, because it'll push power to whatever it's linked to. It doesn't matter inside the drive stack. And if you're worried about the money site, then just doing an iframe embed instead of linking directly to it. All you have to do is the way that we teach to connect, right? Mm-hmm. The connection loop, closing the loop, that's taught inside RYS Academy Reloaded, and it's one of the most important things that you could do is iframing on not only on the Gsite, which we also teach, but also on the money site, and that iframe will cause everything to flow through, and will also protect the money site. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Very good. Thank you. Next question from John. He says, Brad, I was reverse engineering a few of your links that lead to the Gsite for Virginia SEO. It led me to an obvious PBN that is being used. I don't want to name it here since I don't think it matters. I noticed that the website has what appears to be its own social syndication ring of various 2.0 properties. But it also appears that the site is auto-blogging videos. Why? These videos don't appear to be syndicating, and I assume that is on purpose. No, John, honestly, I've talked about this, and just about every time we talk about the SEO Virginia, my first experience with RYS Academy methods, right? That's the first thing that I ever built, is the Virginia SEO or SEO Virginia, whatever, Google site, and I did a drive stack around that keyword, and boom, I've been ranked. Well, I built it in May of 2015, and I think it was about 6 or 8 weeks before it ranked, but it's been ranked ever since. It hasn't budged a fucking spot since then. and that's like incredible. So anyways, I've talked about this many, many times. You obviously hadn't heard it, but I had a old PBN network, private blog network that was it was crafted very poorly. It was based upon like 2012 and 2013 PBN building principles, right? So as of 2015, when I built that drive stack, those PBNs were basically toxic for links for any sort of money site. They were that bad, only because, again, 2012, 2013 methods for building PBNs were a lot different than they were in 2015, right? And so I had like large PBN network that was basically useless for building links to money sites. So I pretty much repurposed them to be video broadcasting sites. And all I would do is use them as like an embed network to optimize or rank videos. So I basically just turned my PBNs, the old ones that were crappy, they weren't themed well, that kind of stuff. They had a whole bunch of different posts on them in different topical categories and things like that. So they were just very, very they would have been toxic had I linked directly to money sites. So that said, because I had that available, and they were all Google properties for that test, that first experience with RYS methods, right? So the Google Drives properties as well as the Google site. I used that PBN network, which was now a video broadcasting network, specifically just because it was, in my opinion, they were like spam links, but I didn't care because it was Google properties. So I did one PBN link run. I think at the time it was about 38 or 40 links, and that was it. And a lot of those sites have been, expired now, but, I let the domains expire on a lot of those sites, but a handful of them are still live, probably just because they're on auto renew and I just pay for them every year. And so that's it. I haven't done any link building to that site at all since May of 2015. And so again, any of those sites that you saw backlinks coming from pointing to that are either test sites or just basically old spammed PBN sites that are just still existing. And I think there might be a few links in there coming from some sites that are in our video powerhouse network. Because again, a lot of those sites from my old PBNs were just turned into video broadcasting sites, and that's it. So anyways, just to answer your question, John, that was purely done from back in 2015. There's been no link building done to that property since then. And what you're looking at are old links coming from PBNs that are no longer being used, or if they're being used, it's specifically only for video syndication. All right, good question though. Doss says, go ahead.
I would just add that that's not where the secret sauce is. I mean, if that's where he's investigating PBN links and all that, you're way off course, man. You got to circle back.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I was trying to get at. Maybe I wasn't clear about it, but those links were like, that was just to help get it pushed. And I remember when I did that, it was, like I said, it was right after I built it. I did a run through my PBN, through part or a handful of sites, a few dozen anyways, of and then I let it go. Like I checked on it every few days for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it was in and out of the Google site, and some of the Drives files were in and out of the index, and they were bouncing all over the damn place when they were in the index. And so I basically kind of like just gave up on it. Like I just kind of forgot about it. And it was like 6 or 8 weeks later. So it probably was in July or maybe even August. But I remember I just happened to think about it, and I went and just did a manual search at SEO Virginia, and boom, it was #1. And I was like, holy shit. And it's been there ever since. And I've never done a damn thing to it. And so again, it has very little to do with the links, if anything at all, because those links would have tanked another site if it wasn't Google properties, right? So what Marco just said is absolutely correct. All right, Doss says, I've been building a good quality new Giggle site. That must be on purpose because he did it multiple times. New Giggle site to point to at my money site, and then building spun Giggle sites with silo linked pages and linking only the home page to those back to the good Google site. Would it push any more juice if I linked each page directly up to the good site, or is it about the same? No, I would do what you're doing, Doss. I would do what you're doing, because there's a lot of value in pushing juice from inner pages to a home page, and then having like, or to any particular specific page, right? To any one specific page, using internal links to push relevancy and equity to that page, and then have one, and again, it can be homepage or any other page, it doesn't matter. And then having one link outbound to whatever your target, your real target site is. There's a lot of, I mean, I like to do that better, because then you can actually go build links to the posts or the inner pages that are all pointing to one specific page that then link to your actual target URL. You can build links to those inner pages, and it adds an extra layer of protection, because now it's inbound links hitting the inner pages pushing all that juice to the specific page that then outbound links to your money page. Now, remember, these are all Google sites, so you can get away with a hell of a lot more. But typically, that's the same type of structure or format that we'll do for link building for anything within our Web 2 networks or syndication networks, right? Like, that's a very powerful strategy. And we have, by the way, we have a Syndication Academy update webinar immediately following this. That's 2 in the month of November. But since we didn't have one in October, I made up for it. I've redeemed myself. So, but with the syndication networks, it's the same thing. If you push a post out through your blog, and it syndicates out across all the Web 2 sites, you can go grab the Web 2 post URLs from that specific post and then build links to those, because there should be a link. Well, there's the attribution link that points back to the original money site post, right? And then the money site post is going to have an internal link up to the page that you're trying to push. And so if you're building links to the Web 2 post URLs, think about how many hops back you are from your actual target URL, right? Target URL blog, which is a page on your money site. Then the first tier link is the blog post from your money site. Second tier links are the Web 2 posts that are the republishing of your blog post from your money site onto the Web 2 platforms. And your fourth tier links are going to be any sort of spam links that you want to point at your Web 2s, your post URLs. Does that make sense? So it's a very, very clear, it's a very clean way to build links and actually funnel like through all that relevancy back up to your target page. So it's a safe way to do it. So that's primarily how I'm doing stuff with the Google Site Generator, for example, is very, very similar to what I just described, what you're talking about here. Anybody else want to comment on that? That was a great question, by the way, Doss.
Yeah, it is. I think that you made a great job answering it, by the way. Okay,
cool. Moving on. Mohammed, what's up, buddy? I just answered your questions for Mindset Mastery this week, by the way, Mohammed, in case you hadn't seen it yet. I actually did like 2 more videos, guys, but I wasn't happy with them, like for another 45 minutes of content, and I deleted them. So if I get time this week, I'm going to try to redo them and post those as well. If not, that's what I'm going to talk about next week. So, hey guys, I'm following the local PR strategy that BB talked about in the recent Syndication Academy webinar. My first PR from Serpspace turned out to have an error I missed. Could my second PR be a correction of the first? Would it be just as powerful? It's going to have to be worded slightly different, Mohammed. Otherwise, it will probably be rejected by the distribution service because they don't allow duplicate content. Rob, who's co-partner or co-creator of RYS Reloaded with Marco, he does a really good with creating his own PRs from using other people's PRs and just rewording them, like rewriting some of the stuff and then just republishing those, which is awesome, and putting his own links and stuff in it. All I ever do, Mohammed, is just use the PR writers from whatever distribution service we're using. If it's in Serpspace, we use the PR writers there. If it's in any one of the other services that I use, I always use their in-house writers. I used to use my own PR writer, but the problem is each different distribution service is going to have different editorial guidelines. They're all similar, but there are some slight nuances. And so even if you have your own PR writer, it's good to have that because you get a specific voice that becomes consistent through all the PRs. But the problem with that is different distribution networks may kick it back for various reasons, right? And say, no, this needs to be edited, or this is not approved or unapproved because of this reason and that reason. And so it becomes kind of a pain in the ass. So I've just learned it's just more efficient to use the PR writers that are available within the actual distribution services, because they know what will pass for their editorial guidelines. And so I just always give very specific instructions. I always provide the PR title. A lot of the PR writers are going to want to change the title and tell you that their title's better, and I always change it back because I know what the hell I want to target. And when I provide the PR title, I want them to use that. So anyways, PR title, who, what, when, where, sometimes why or how. And then you want quotes from an executive, or if you're doing a review post, like an announcement of a new review or a 5-star review or whatever like that, then you can always use the review text from the customer as a quote. But that's pretty much what they're looking for. So just keep that in mind. I would recommend, if you had a PR written from Serpspace, because we don't even allow user submitted PRs anymore, do we, Roman?
No, we don't.
Yeah. So,
I was also going to mention that because I've had to do this in the past where somebody misses some kind of information on the press release when they submit it out, and then they would need to make a correction, and we can have a press release written up, basically saying that what we stated here was incorrect and that this is correct, and gives you an excuse to link back to the original PR. Yeah. And then you can push it up that way and turn your kind of the disadvantage into an advantage. So we've done it in the past, corrections PRs. So just message support and we should be able to take care of it.
Very good. Thank you. By the way, Mohammed, keep this in mind. Anybody doing the PR strategy, guys, when you go to add links into your press releases, if you're going to be doing any sort of stacking, you want to use a redirect URL to the PRs that you're pointing links to. So like if you're doing a second tier PR, which points to another PR, you want to use a redirect URL because a lot of those PRs purge, and some of them purge within as little as 90 days. I've got a lot. I'm not going to get into that. I'll talk about that in Mastermind tomorrow, but I've got a lot of stuff that I've seen since I started doing stacking, which was about 5 months ago. I've done a lot of that. And there's a lot of those PRs that were originally published that are now been purged from the PR sites. They're on some sites, but the vast majority of them now are already been deleted. So there's some sites delete after 90 days, some sites delete after 6 months or 180 days, right? So and then there's some that keep them for I don't know how long, but they're still up. And so it's best if you just keep a record, like a spreadsheet of all the PRs and your target URLs, and then use redirects. And I recommend just setting up like a dummy domain for that, or even a subdomain like press dot something or whatever. That's what I do. And I just use PrettyLink Pro, I use PrettyLink Pro, but you can use PrettyLink Lite, which is a free plugin to set up all the redirects. And I use that so that now if a PR is published that is pointing to a target URL of another PR that has been purged, I can go in and swap what that link in the PR is published, the published PR, what that link is pointing to, right? The destination, the target URL, I can change that out, swap that out to something else. And it can be anything. It can be a tier 1 property, a syndication network, a citation, anything I want. And that way I don't lose that juice, if that makes sense. So I highly recommend that you do that. I just started doing that recently. I don't know why the hell I didn't think about it before, but I'm doing that now with all my stuff. And it's much better that way. Plus, you can actually build the authority of one of your own domains that way. All right, number 2, he says, I'm currently curating 2 posts a week for my real estate client, one on real estate topics made with recent articles and another on local news with local papers as sources. I want to use this model with another realtor in another city. How different would the real estate posts have to be? For instance, if I had 5 realtors, it would start to get hard to have all of them completely unique every week. Could I edit them, or would I hire more VAs to write more unique ones? If you're curating posts, what I would recommend doing is, I wouldn't republish the same post across multiple. You probably could. To be honest, Mohammed, you likely could do that. Just take the post, the original curated post, and republish it on the other 5 realtors' websites, and you'd probably be fine, right? But because a lot of people do that with local sites anyways. Like if they do local plumbing sites, they'll copy the same content and the only thing they swap out is the actual like geographic modifiers, right? The location modifiers. And that still seems to work. I've never recommended doing that. I don't do that personally. Curating is easy enough because all that the curators have to do is a couple of sentences of commentary in between each curated piece of content. So if all the heavy lifting has been done with the first curated post, which is finding content to support the theme of the article, right, or of the post, and then putting, laying it out in a logical order, then there literally is an opening, a small amount of commentary between each curated piece, and a conclusion. And that's it. And so that can be done very, very quickly. And so if the curated article has already been published once, I would recommend you just send that over to another blog and just have the commentary slightly changed so that it is unique. That's all I would do. And again, if you've got multiple curators, you could even have the primary curator, send it out to the other curators and have them just do a slight rewrite on the commentary. And it would be a much more efficient way, but you'd also be guaranteeing you've got unique content that way. That's what I would do. Any comments on that, guys? Okay.
That was pretty in depth, actually. I was actually taking some notes.
That's cool. Good stuff, man. I hope everybody took notes.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. John's up again. He says, do the drive stacks have enough power and authority to rank a site on their own? Sometimes, John, but I don't ever expect it to be enough. Sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised, but sometimes, a lot of the times, no, it's not enough. It depends on the competition. So our standard answer applies here. Do the drive stacks have enough power and authority to rank a site on their own? It depends. So I'll let Marco comment on that. What do you think, Marco?
Sorry, I was talking to a muted mic. I totally agree. It depends. And just like you said, sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. Sometimes you hit something that you figure is easy, but the competition is actually more than you thought. So you're going to need more. What's the best way? Well, there's a ton of ways. Bradley was just talking about press releases. Press releases to drive stack work like gangbusters. You can
Crazy.
Press releases are a form of link building. But you could also do link building. Dadia does, again, a great job of link building into the drive stacks. He's been doing it for a few years for us now. And so he knows exactly what needs to be done. But I mean, there's just a ton of things. There's just so much, right? You can go, if you have a verified Google My Business, you could go into there and drive relevance and power from your Google My Business into your drive over to the money side. I mean, this is endless because of the way that drive stacks work. Like, once again, I'm going to promote the training. All of this is covered in our RYS Reloaded. You don't have to go and try to reverse engineer all of this. The training is available right now in RYS Reloaded. Comes with a Facebook group, webinars. Rob is always in there providing value. So I highly recommend that you come and join the training.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a complex beast, John. It's freaking super powerful and very effective, but without, I mean, you can try to reverse engineer, and I mean, it took Marco and Gary Kieron originally, what, like 18 months of development, figuring all this shit out. So my point is you're going to spend a shit ton of time trying to reverse engineer stuff or testing. And you can get it all done for you, basically, like all the stuff like handed to you on a silver platter as to what works if you join the academy, or you just buy done for you networks, and then you can try to reverse engineer those, which would be a hell of a lot faster than just kind of trial and error on your own, right? But yeah, I absolutely recommend it. Sounds like you like building stuff from your questions, which is great. That's awesome. I would highly recommend that you join the academy so that you can get the proper training, and you'll shortcut your learning curve by months and months, if not years. So, all right, Dan's up. He says, Bradley mentioned in a previous Hump Day using a call center to answer calls for lead gen sites and having to set up for a month or so before trying to sell to a new client or contractor. What does the call center tell the incoming callers or leads? Dan, if I said that I had a call center set up prior to actually selling the leads, well, I can't believe I would have said that. I may have, and if I did, I apologize because that's not what I meant. What I typically do now, hold on a minute. What I'm saying is, if starting off something brand new, most of the time, all I'll do is set up a voicemail on. So like I'll use a call redirect number, call forwarding number, and I'll just set up a voicemail. If I do not have a service provider, all I do is set up a voicemail, because all I'm looking for is the call records, right? History of calls. Some people will leave a message. It's very rare. Most people will call and hang up. But I can go into the virtual phone number dashboard and actually pull call reports. And anything that has a local area code, in my opinion, counts as a valid call. And that's only that's just to keep your expenses low, Dan. Only because Answer Connect, which is the call center service I use, I love them. I've been using them since I first set it up back in 2000 and I think it was 12. Yeah, it was 2012. So I've been using them for damn near 6 years now. And they're a really great service, but it's rather expensive. And unless you're producing revenue, I don't recommend setting that up. So I would just send it to a voicemail. Make sure you're using a call tracking number. That way you can go in and look at call analytics. You can filter out any non-local area codes, which some of those could be valid calls, but you can show what type of call volume you're getting, right? And then as soon as you get somebody willing to purchase or buy the leads, then you can set up the call center. Now, since I have a call center set up, it only costs me $5 per month to set up an additional, what they call sub account in Answer Connect. So I've got a primary account number, and then which is a phone number, and then every other, I've got many sub accounts underneath that, and it only costs $5 per month per sub account at Answer Connect. And then you pay for your your minutes. You pay per minute usage as well. But so it's very inexpensive. If you already have it set up, then what you could do is you could still get the leads information, just the same type of a script, a lead qualifying script is what I call it, right? And then then nobody ever calls the lead back is my point, if you don't have somebody yet. Now you could, if you've already got Answer Connect set up, then you could certainly do that. I wouldn't say go cancel it just to go back and set it up again as soon as you get a service provider. But if you don't have that set up yet, don't do it. Just use a voicemail. If that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Do you tell them that someone will call them back? Well, of course. I mean, if you're using an answering service, that's what the, you know, as part of the script, typically what I write in the script is after the script, you know, the calls, the questions have been answered that I have, you know, put into the script, which basically qualifies a lead: name, address, phone number, type of service requested, best time to call, you know, that email address, that kind of stuff. And then a brief description of the job. And then typically the answering service says, okay, Mr. or Mrs. whatever, blank, we'll have our estimator call you back as soon as they can. And that's it. And if they don't call them back, so be it. You know, don't worry about it.
And we have a pretty good setup and how to do all those things in the mastermind.
Yep. We're going to be covering that starting in January 1st. We're going to be building, well, we'll talk about that again after I announce it to the mastermind members tomorrow. So we'll talk about that a little bit more next week. Jay says, if a local business has a previously used domain with lots of citations to it, and that previous domain is 301 redirected to the legitimate domain in GMB, do all these citations need to be cleaned up to reflect the legitimate domain, or can these citations be left alone? Okay, Jay, the real correct, the best answer is yes, they should all be updated, because there are still incorrect data out there, right? If remember, Google is even punctuation. Incorrect punctuation on citations can be considered incongruent and can cause NAP or ranking issues, right? And so the name, address, phone number, and URL, like we always talk about citations as NAP, name, address, phone number. And that's true, because that is a legitimate, it doesn't have to have a reference to a link to be a citation, right? It's a citation. It's a mention of the business, the brand, the address, the phone number. But most citations do have a link. And whether it's a hyperlink, clickable, or just like a text link, it doesn't matter. It still counts. It's still considered a citation. So any of the data and those data points, if it's incongruent, can cause issues. Now that's the genuine answer, Jay. Although I have some properties out there that had the exact same situation you're talking about. A lot of them are old generic lead gen sites that have now been, you know, they're being serviced by a contractor now. And I set up more branded type domains or pseudo branded domains, and I have the old ones redirected to just like what you're talking about. And some of those sites are still ranked in the maps pack. But to be honest with you, in the more competitive areas, anytime there's been NAP issues from something like that, you have to correct them or you're not going to rank. In the less competitive areas, it may not be as much of an issue. At least in my experience, I've got some properties that are still ranked in the maps pack, even though that specific condition you're talking about here exists. But in anything that's a little bit more competitive, no, it's really does make a difference. And again, I highly recommend, you know, Marketer Center. I don't know if we have it inside of Serpspace. Do we have the citation cleanup inside of Serpspace?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, cool. And that's, you know, it's a good service. It's not as good as the service that we have or that Loganix has for citation cleanup. That's a lot more expensive. Loganix's citation cleanup is the best I've used. There's no doubt. It's really expensive. I say really expensive, but it's worth it. It depends on how many citations are out there, Jay. If you've got hundreds of citations already, then just go with the Loganix package. I hate to say that with Roman on especially, but like, because the reason why I say that is because they'll work on it for like 8 to 12 weeks, I think, and they'll do like 3 separate attempts for every single directory, and they're really, really thorough about it. I noticed that, you know, it's only worth it if you've got a lot of citations out there or a lot of really bad inconsistencies. If it's just a handful of stuff, absolutely do it through Serpspace. You'll save yourself a shit ton of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because you've got one that's more of one that's a budget solution, and then the other one that's you know, it's high end. You pay for it, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and you know, $500 is totally worth it with the amount of work that goes into that. It's ridiculous. If you've ever tried to update citations on your own, guys, I'd rather like watch grass grow than do it. It's so tedious, you know. So, okay, Sam's up. What's up, Sam? He was with us in Portland. He says, hey, all, I've been trying to supplement my income by offering SEO services on Upwork. I'm still learning myself, so my track record is a bit unproven, but I think I can still provide value to people. Do you have any general tips or insights about how one might offer freelance SEO services on a platform like that? Thanks in advance. Sam, I'm quite sure, go to Udemy or whatever the hell it's called, the you know, digital information training, whatever site, and go do a search on like Upwork SEO. Like, something like that. I know there's courses out there. I've seen them that teach people how to, especially digital marketers, how to promote themselves on Upwork and freelance and some of those other sites and actually get ranked for keyword searches and stuff like that. Because I've looked at them in the past. I've never done any of it myself because I've never offered my services on any of those platforms, but I've seen those training courses. So I would recommend just do some Google searches for that and see what you can find. Anybody have any recommendations?
I mean, I'll just offer some of the general stuff. Like, you know, you can go out there. I would look at other places to drive leads into other places as well. Even if you're sending them through Upwork, it's a great place to get started. But very quickly, please start being picky. I mean, you got to pay your bills, but be careful about taking on a bunch of crazy pants clients. So,
yeah. And I wish I could remember off the top of my head. There was one course out there specifically. I sat through a whole webinar one time about this course. It was specifically for SEOs trying to promote themselves on Upwork. And I almost bought it, but I didn't. I can't remember the guy's name now. I would point it out if I knew it, Sam. But just do a little bit of research, man. It might take some digging, some playing around with different type of queries.
I'll go the other way with this too, real quick, because Sam, I met you in person. You know, you're a personable guy. You know, you're easy to get along with. We talked. I would say don't give up on. You know, you're in Seattle. That's a huge market, and especially since you're maybe not having people like beating down your door online to get your services. That don't ignore the local area. You know, if you know anyone, can you help someone? Again, you know, if you don't have that track record, then you do need some sort of credibility first. And I think we might have talked about this in person, but, you know, start going out. Maybe there's someone you can help locally. And I think that do that in parallel with pursuing the online jobs.
And here you go, guys. So $12. Sorry, guys, just real quick. Only $12 for Udemy courses right now. Just go search Upwork and look, there's a whole bunch of courses here on how to market yourself on Upwork.
So is he in our masterclass, mastermind?
No, he's not. I don't think so.
Got you.
Nope, not yet.
Otherwise, I would recommend the mastermind prospecting funnel that Bradley set up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like Adam was saying, there's a huge amount of opportunity locally as well. You know, find out where the business owners are at. A lot of times they have meetings, conferences, things like that, and that's where you want to be.
Yeah, well, like Bradley, when you got started, right? Was that Chamber of Commerce?
Well, no, actually, I didn't do the Chamber of Commerce when I got started because it's like, you know, it's like $300 or $400 a year to join, and at the time I was broke, so I didn't do it. But I went to meetup groups. Just go to meetup.com, and you can find like lead share groups and things like that, and those are always great. And I've said this before because people ask Sam right here on Hump Day Hangouts before, what's the quickest way to find clients? And we just covered this within the last couple of weeks, actually. And I recommend what Adam said, absolutely. Meetup groups, Chamber of Commerce meetings, any sort of lead share type group stuff. Those are all great to get started. Also, email prospecting, which is a laser approach, like a rifle approach instead of a shotgun approach. The prospecting funnel that Hernan just mentioned, or Chris, I guess it was Chris, just mentioned a moment ago, that we're teaching inside the mastermind right now is more of a shotgun approach. It's a mass approach as opposed to like a really targeted approach. But the video email prospecting, which Sam, you should have access to because it's in the bonus site, which you should have access to, is I would definitely go through that. If you don't like going out to live events, like, you know, networking events, then you can do really, really well with the video email prospecting stuff. It just takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it because the response rate is so high. Okay. All right. Eddie says, I own Peter Drew's LiveRank Sniper, and I also recently purchased his Google Site Builder, Mass Blogger, Creator, and Hangout Millionaire. I am not, I guess he meant sure, if I should use Hangout Millionaire to create videos to be used as videos for random affiliate products and for an e-commerce store, if they should be used on a dozen secondary YouTube channels to create videos used only for backlinks to quality money videos. I already plan to use your video powerhouse for embeds of my quality money videos. With all that, how do you suggest best using Hangout Millionaire? Thank you. Okay, that's a great question, Eddie, because I'm actually using that right now for a couple of projects. I'm really going to be using it heavily starting in January. But right now I've just been kind of playing with it a little bit. And so what I do is I use LiveRank Sniper to do all my keyword identification, right? They call it poking, keyword poking, figure out which keywords you can rank for. All those channels that I use in LiveRank Sniper are orphaned channels. They have no connection to anything on the web. They're just basically test or spam channels, right? And I just use them to poke keywords. And then once I use the LiveRank Sniper to do the report, to do the Google search report, and it sends back the text file with all the keywords that rank in the URLs of the videos that ranked. Those are ranked on page 1 or page 1 or 2, and there's a setting in there. You can only select page 1 if you want, or 1 or 2, and they'll return the keywords. And then from that, I just go back into the channel. I use Browsio, so I have, you know, multiple channels in there open in various tabs, and I just jump into the channel and delete all the videos, and then I go actually input those keywords that ranked with no syndication networks. They're orphan channels. They're just basically spam channels, but I've been able to rank on page 1 or page 2. So then I with those. So what I do is just take all those keywords and go drop those in the Hangout Millionaire to a channel that is actually connected to syndication network, or in my case, multiple syndication networks. And so, you know, that's what I do. Keep in mind that if you're going to use the same video over and over again, then you may want to split it up across a few different channels, as like when you do your actual money videos. Because, you know, somebody could report your channel and it could get terminated. But that's why I like to use like multiple tiered syndication networks with one channel, so that everything is triggered from one location. And that way, if that channel gets taken down for whatever reason or suspended, then all I have to do is replace that channel with another one, but all my syndication networks are intact. And it's just a matter of updating the applets in one set of trigger applets at the original source, the original channel source, right? Does that make sense? So it's just easy to replace. If it, you know, it's still a pain in the ass, but it's better than having your stuff spread out across multiple channels, which, you know, that's kind of a pain in the ass to set up too and keep track of, is my point. All right. So as far as the you know, affiliate products, I'm using it mainly for local stuff. So I can't imagine it would be any problem to create videos to be used for random affiliate products in e-commerce store. As far as the actual link building, like using it as a link building tool for link building to other YouTube videos, yes, that works. That absolutely works. In fact, I've tested that in the past where I've had, and it's essentially like this same strategy we talk about in the Silo Academy, right? YouTube Silo Academy. If you've got a video that's stubborn, and so what I would do is use something like Power Suggest Pro to go enter in that seed keyword that you're trying to rank for, and then scrape a shit ton of really good long tail keywords and search queries that are associated with that keyword. Filter them out to only the most relevant ones, and you should end up with a handful, 6, 8, 10, whatever keywords that are longer tail versions of that shorter tail one that you're trying to rank, that you're having a hard time with. Then you can set up a Hangout Millionaire campaign and use target or use the longer keywords that you scrape from Power Suggest Pro to all basically build links to that one video, and make sure you're using playlist. Put them all on a playlist with your top video, the one that you're trying to rank is the top of the playlist, so that you link in the Hangout Millionaire video description both to the URL of the top level video that you're trying to rank, as well as to the container, the playlist URL, right? You do that, and that absolutely works. I've seen significant jumps just from doing that. And it's because basically you're building a silo and you're using all of the longer tail keywords, which are actual queries people search for, to push relevancy and keyword theming up to the top level video. Does that make sense? Okay, we're gonna move on. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, Eliezer, he's a new Mindset Mastery subscriber. I know that. He posted a question the other day. He says, "Hey guys, for whoever has the idea, I'd like to share my results. For whoever has this idea, I'd like to share my results. I decided to spam my YouTube video with 400,000 contextual links, and well, my entire channel's video or views tanked. I optimized everything else, but I was too aggressive. Normally I would spam Web 2s, but I just had to test it out to see if it worked. Lesson of the day, don't underestimate YouTube's algorithm." I'll +1 that. Thanks for sharing that, man.
That's a guy after my own heart, man.
Yep.
I love doing that and seeing what happens. Just don't do it on anything you care about, man.
Yep.
But yeah, it's worth the test.
Yep. Totally agree. Eliza, and I need to figure out how to pronounce that. Yeah, definitely. That's what we do. It's just test the shit out of stuff. We test it. And Marco likes to blow shit up because he tries to figure out that, like, that's how you figure out what the threshold is, right?
Yep.
So, All right, Greg says, can you rel canonical a Gsite? Not that I know of, but Marco may be able to answer that better.
No, you can only canonicalize it up to what do you call it? A TLD, right? Your own domain.
Yes.
You can do that. You can get it canonicalized to that. We tried to hack a canonical into a Gsite. I think Rob tried several ways, and it wouldn't pick it up correctly. But we're trying, Greg. Believe me, it's one of the things that's in the lab. So we play a lot with Gsites and see how much we can get away with.
Yeah. And to answer to be clear, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't say that, Greg, but you can canonicalize a Gsite if you're using a custom domain. You have to set up the domain mapping inside the Gsite's dashboard. And it's a little bit geeky doing it. Like I had a hell of a time doing it. It's kind of weird. You got to go in and set up CNAME records and stuff like that. But it was a pain in the ass. I just remember it being a bitch to do. But then it canonicalizes the Gsite URL to your custom domain, which is crazy because both sites still exist. You can still visit the Google Sites URL, and it exists, but it's just canonical. Like it's like you would, instead of it being like a redirect, it's a canonical, right? So both sites still exist, which is actually kind of cool because then you can spam the shit out of the Google site, and it will push over to your main domain, or well, essentially your main domain is what the Google site is sitting on, right? So, but people won't see it. It's pretty cool, right? It's very similar to what we do with tag pages and stuff, Greg, and you should know that. You're in the mastermind. Ken Roberts says, I have a real issue and hope someone can help me. I'm trying to log into a Gmail account that hasn't been used since 2013. Back in 2013, let's see. So it's a valid site, basically valid brand. I'm not going to read the whole question. It's too long. I called, spoke. Let's see.
Yeah, I think he's trying to recover his
yeah, good luck.
Gmail account.
Ken. I know Greg commented in the Syndication Academy Facebook group about that as well. And all I would do is echo his statement, his comment, and that would be to, I'd call back and try to get another GMB rep on, because the one that I know that you talked to said that they couldn't do anything. I would just try to call back and see if somebody else can help you some way, as long as you can prove that it's like your business or your profile, that kind of stuff. And I don't know what their verification requirements are for that, but I know like typically I'll try a couple ways to recover an account when I get locked out like this. And I've got several of them. And if I spend more than 30, like if it takes me 30 minutes and I have not recovered it, I quit and I move on. I know that sucks in your case, but I would try to do something like maybe reissue a GMB and have it re-verified under a different Gmail account, like what I think Greg mentioned to you. Yeah. It's so much fucking work trying to jump through the hoops that they put in front of you. It's just not worth it unless it's a unique situation, which it sounds like it may be in your case, Ken. Somebody else want to comment on that?
Yeah, when you're talking to the people, just refuse to hang up and just drive them nuts, and maybe you'll eventually get what you want.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Okay, cool. I think we're almost done, guys. Keith says it's a bloody good course. He's talking about SEO Bootcamp. Look at that. Jenny says the same thing, guys. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Pick it up. If you got to use PayPal credit, do it, because it'll go up to $1,000 if you don't. I purchased SEO Bootcamp. Highly recommend program and learning a lot from Jefferey Smith, the SEO ninja. Thanks for having him on. Absolutely. He's awesome. I have some questions I would like to address before I create and publish anything. Credit niche. Guys, we got to wrap this up too, so I'm going to try to run through this as quick as I can. Credit niche is used for example only. Do you think this URL structure would be over optimization? Yes, absolutely, Jenny. 100%. Look, my methodology, now I haven't gotten that far into the course yet of what Jeffrey recommends, but I can tell you my own experience is I always try to keep my category slugs and my post URLs and page URLs very, very short and succinct and not over optimized. And actually, Jenny, if you're in Syndication Academy, I'm going to be covering best practices for content marketing and post and page optimization in the webinar that we're going to have in 5 minutes from now. So if you're in Syndication Academy, I highly recommend you join the webinar today. If not, if you can't make it, you can always watch the replay, but I'm going to be covering that. And personally, I might have like, look, you've got credit in the root, credit here, category, top level category, child category, you've got credit, and then you've got credit in the post URL. in my opinion, that's way, way, way over optimized. I might do creditpros.com/repair / maybe blemish, if that's an actual keyword, / how to repair credit fast. Having it in the slug there is not so bad because it's so far removed from the root where the other occurrence would be. But I would absolutely not have it in every one of those. That's way over optimized in my opinion. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that physical silos like that run that deep.
Yeah.
It's virtual silos are, in my opinion, better. I mean, this has its place for physical silos like that, but and those URLs are ridiculously over optimized.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get that.
And I kind of agree with Roman here in that depends on the type of site. Like in this case, it sounds like it's more like a national site instead of local. If you're doing local and you're covering different geographic areas, it makes sense to have the physical silo structure, which means your permalink structure is set up to show category / post name, right? So you see the actual silo structure in the URL. But you can still accomplish the same thing by just doing the post name permalink structure. You just still do all your internal linking. You still stack all your content within the proper categories, child categories, and posts, and that sort of thing. But you can have it much shortened to where it'd be creditpros.com / how to repair credit fast. You wouldn't see all this other stuff here. But even if those aren't shown, just don't over optimize them. I still would follow like as if I was showing it in the URL. I would still keep it short and succinct. But again, on local stuff, I like to show. For local stuff, I like to show like the hierarchy of how the locations are stacked. So it might be, top level category state, then maybe county as the child category, and then city as the post, something like that. But again, it just depends. And what Roman said is absolutely true. A virtual silo can accomplish the same end results without all this crap.
Yeah, I mean, virtual silos are easier to manage because these, setting pages up and things like this can be a real pain when you start getting into other CMSs and stuff like that. And if you can accomplish the same thing, without it, it's much better.
Totally agree.
Well, I've got something that I need to say, and that's this. You want one of these awesome, awesome shirts, you should come join the mastermind. I mean, there's like 10 billion other reasons, but I mean, I don't know. These are pretty nice too.
Well, that's the icing on the cake, guys. If there was ever a reason to join the mastermind, it's to get the shirt. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all, some of you on the Syndication Academy webinar, and the rest of you, or some others, we'll see tomorrow on the Mastermind webinar, and the rest of you, we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Adios.
Okay, bye-bye.